Right, time to get absolutely nutty with Oscilio. You have to bear with me because this is a exuberantly long sequence of cards that I need to remember and figure out. So this is going to be a long one, but yeah, utter insanity what we can end up doing with Oscilio. So nice and simple, we just have a little bit set up. I already have an Amulet Ignition, 3 energy pots, 3 timestamp. I don't even know if I need them, right? But we can stick out some sigils and basically just set up our board. I just play them all. Nope, that's wrong. I play them all but the Brilliance. Yeah, okay. It's coming back to me how exactly I planned this out. All right, so end of turn, Brilliance goes into our arsenal. We get a whole bunch more sigils, right? We take the Tusk on the face, which is fine. Puts us to 30 HP. And then our Ponders pop, right? So we get 3 Ponder tokens, which is beautiful because that will allow us to then play all 3 sigils and the 2 temporals, right? So we get to play all 5, and then still get a card to stick in our arsenal for our actual combo turn, right? So play. So they'll all pop on our next turn. And now the shenanigans begin. So we pass, we get our Ponder tokens, right? Which gets us a Comet and Channel Lightning Valleys, which are fine. Okay, so now on our opponent's turn, what we want to do is wait till the end step. I should always just wait till the end step anyway. So that hits. Pass. Okay, so we're going to play the last sigil. So that resolved. And we can put out the 3 Channel Lightning Valleys. And then we can use a energy pot to play our shock. Right? And technically we could go for a little bit more damage if we wanted, but it's not relevant. Right, so 2 resources, we can then shock, which will then pop the Channel Lightning Valleys on our opponent's turn. So deal the damage to our opponent, that will crack our 3 Channel Lightning Valleys. The reason we put them out on our opponent's turn is that we don't have to pay the upkeep cost, and we still get 2 turns out of them. But basically, Gauntlet Flash and Fulminate are going to be the main crux of all the shenanigans we unleash today, and why overall I think Oscilio is significantly better to play on your turn, right, than try and build around playing on your opponent's turn. But we do want to crack our Aether Bindings first before any of the sigils pop. And then I believe we want to draw... Oh, you can only adjust the layers first. That's my bad. Brilliance should go first, I believe. So do Brilliance, right? Crack the Aether Bindings, let that pop. Then Brilliance will start ramping up the amp, which is fine. We'll get 3 cards. And then the idea here is to go Sigil of Temporal Manipulation, right? And then play a Etchings of the Arcana. And I'm going to damage the practice dummy, but a lot of what we can do is just damage ourselves to actually trigger the surge effect, hence why we're taking the blue, not the red. So if I had waited on the Aether Bindings, I could have just amped this by 1 instead of 3, right? But we'll do the damage to the practice dummy. So that will allow us to then return to our hand a Sigil of Brilliance, right? And then that also triggers the Lightning Valley, which then has to draw 3 more. And that's already quite the start to our turn, is it not? Right? Now, one thing I will note, and I have to turn on manual mode, right, is for whatever reason, Sigil of Temporal Manipulation does not work with Aether Bindings here on Teleshare, right? But it's still a Sigil. So when it leaves, we should get Amp, because the idea is the Sigil leaves, right? We should have got the Amp bonus, and then we get an Etching. So I will give myself Kindle. I think that's the easy way around this. Okay, so if I give myself Kindle, and then we just pop Kindle, right? Instant, it's as though we got the amp effect of the Aether Binding, which then again would allow us to play an Etching, right? Again, could target ourselves, do 2 damage, or in this case, we'll just lay into the practice dummy, right? Return another Sigil of Brilliance, and then do the same thing with the last Sigil, so it pops. We should have gotten the bonus, right, from the Aether Bindings, it's fine. So Kindle, pass, and then play our 3rd Etchings, right? Get a practice dummy, and return the last Sigil of Brilliance to our hand, right? So just like that, we're all stocked up and ready just to unleash an absolute insanity of cards. Right, so where to begin? Well, starting off, we will crack the energy pots, which I do need, right? So crack them both, get our 4 resources. You know what? I completely forgot to do in all this. Play the Amulet of Ignition. Is that going to bite me in the ass? That might bite me in the ass. But we'll see. We can do our Caution, right? Put that into play. We can then do Fulminate, and I don't know. Every time I see anything, Fulminate is just never looked at, right? So you've got Channel Thunder Steep, Channel Lightning Valley, and the other one, which is like pay 1 for go again. But Fulminate does all that, and, you know, cost 2, reveal a card, and then every attack action has go again. which is just beautiful, right? Works really well with Gone in a Flash, and we can gain resources off that. Pass. And from there, right, we can now do Gone in a Flash, loop as many times as we want with the sigils. So we want to do Gone in a Flash. We also do want to crack the Lightning Greaves while we're there, since we're going to be playing a few instants. Lightning Greaves shouldn't count the cards we make instant, right? Because it's only instant cards you play, similar to the next time you play an instant card. Is that how that works? So, for instance, the Arcane Etchings, the 3 we played, wouldn't have mattered with the Lightning Greaves, right? The 3. We wouldn't have got 3 extra action points, if memory serves. But we can do Gone in a Flash. We can let its damage resolve, which is that step, right? And then we can do a Sigil of Brilliance, return it to our hand, and we still want to keep 2 because we want to cycle them with our Blast to Oblivion. So, you know what? Actually, no, I can put 1 on board. Yeah, I can do 1 more on board. So we go Gone and Flash again. Pass. And all this is uncontestable, right? So it returns to our hand and the draw off the Sigil. Our opponent has no way to intervene with that, which is, you know, one of the things that they're trying to avoid, right? And I think is why Oscilio is a little bit unsung as how glorious he can be, because even just normal strings of Gone and Flash into the Lightning Rod is really good tempo. But we can return the Gone to a Flash, put the Sigil into play, pass. Okay, so now what do? We need to loop effectively, which is where my brain starts hurting. We have 3 action points, so I'm going to pop the Robe of Rapture, right? Okay, so I believe we go Blast to Oblivion, Electromagnetic Somersaults, Etchings, because we'll have the Surge thanks to the Eighth of Binding. And I think that's the loop we're doing over and over, and this will allow us to get the Temporals back. Yeah, I think that's correct. Plus then we also have the Open the Floodgate, which I do need the draw, but we'll get the draw off the Sigil, right? Yeah. I think I've sorted it out. So we go Blast, right? I always forget which step we do it on. I'm just going to do it on the instant step. I don't really care about the 4 damage per Electromagnetic Somersault. So Sigil returns, right? We get a card. We then get Blast back as well. And we also have the Amp from the Eighth of Bindings, which is the big thing, right? So pass. It does its damage. And then the chain ends. From there, we can either Etchings. I think I want to go through the draw first, right? Since we have the action points too. So we do Open the Floodgate. And again, we could target ourselves so that we guarantee the draw effect. We'll target the Practice Dummy. So hit them. That gets us our 2 more cards, in which case we can do pick a card, thanks to Koshum, and gain a whole bunch of resources. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Beautiful, right? And then we just loop it over and over again. So we go Blast, put it on the chain, do Electromagnetic Somersaults, triggers Blast, that returns a Sigil of Brilliance, which I also need to remember to play them, right, after this chain. Right, return Blast does its damage, we get the Amp, and yeah, this is where the insanity ensues and my brain sort of melts a little because I have so much to keep track of, right? So now we can do Open the Floodgate. It has Surge active, which is beautiful, right? So we get the 2 more. We can do pick a card, we can get 4 more resources, and this basically pays for all the Open the Floodgates, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, since we're putting the sigils back into play, we want to do Gone in a Flash, right? Let the damage resolve for Gone in a Flash, because it returns as soon as you play the instance, right? Then play the sigil, return it, pass, and we can do it once more. So we go Gone in a Flash, pass, let the damage resolve, beautiful, and then play the other sigil, return it, and get so much value out of one simple card, right, that has in my opinion, the wrong person on the picture. Oscilio does so much with it, right? I know it doesn't really, you know, fit thematically, this giant-ass golem dude disappearing, but yeah. So much use. We're already at 12 with the Lightning Rod too. I'm curious how high we'll get that. Okay, so we have the 2 sigils in play, so then it's back to Blast, pass, nope, not pass, play the instant. I'm glad it didn't click. Interesting. Right. Nope, I have done it wrong. Put on the chain, then play the instant. God, this would be so much easier in paper, right? Return that, return the Blast to Oblivion, hits, which is fine. Right. Resolve. I'm closing the chain just because I should be closing the chain every time. And then we do open the floodgate again. We hit the practice dummy. It draws us 2 more cards. We can do pick a card, and I think that's the last of the pick a cards, which is fine. It should be all the resources we need, right? Minus the Amulet of Ignition that I screwed up, but it took me like 5 minutes to sort the deck in order to show this off. So yeah, if need be, right, we'll pretend we played it. It has to be the first thing you do on your turn, right, to cover the cost of the Lightning Greaves, right? So yeah, I'll just give myself 1 extra resource if it comes to that. Okay, so we're out of electromagnetic somersaults, which is fine. So we're now chaining blasts. So the way we chain blasts is we use the sigil, right, in order to cycle it back. So we can put 1 more sigil into play, right, and then we only need 1 to cycle with. Yeah. So we go Gauntlet Flash, pass. Again, let the damage resolve, like so. Then play the sigil, return the Gauntlet Flash, pass, pass. And then we have the amp. So then, do we have, no, we don't have the amp. Gauntlet Flash does not amp, right? Just look for the trigger. So then we can do blast, right? Put it on the chain, and then the instant we're playing is the sigil, which then triggers blast and allows us to get another sigil back. That triggers the amp, which then allows us to open the floodgates, the pass, let the damage resolve. And we're also building action points, right? That's another thing that we should note, right? And then we can do open the floodgates. We can hit the practice dummy, pass, draw 2 more cards, and then continue the blast sequence until we're out of open the floodgates and we swap to the arcane etchings, I believe, right? Unless I've screwed something up, but I think that's correct, right? So then it's just blast, put on the chain, play the sigil, pass, return the sigil to hand, get the amp effect, do the damage, right? And then play the open the floodgates, beautiful. Again, I will continue to point out that we could be targeting ourselves. You'd probably run out of life, in all honesty, right? What would it be? Be 2 sets of 6, so it'd be 6, 3 by 3 is 9, so 15, plus the open the floodgates. Yeah, you probably don't want to target yourself. But thanks to hopefully the Gauntlet Flashes and the Blast, you'd probably wear down your opponent anyway, right? In order to then have all this arcane damage come through at some point. Okay, so then we go Blast. Pass. Play the sigil. Pass. I think this is the last open the floodgate. Looks like it's the last open the floodgate. Return the sigil. Pass. Pass. And we're almost out of resources, so it must be nearing the end. Do the damage. Wait till they're green, right? Then open the floodgates. Hit the practice dummy. Draw 2 more cards, right? And then go blast. Pass. Sigil. Pass. Return a sigil, pass, do our damage. Wait till everything's green. Oh no, I do have blue. Open the floodgates, never mind. Open the floodgates, hits, pass. There's the scour, which is beautiful. We then go... it must just be play open the floodgate till we're out of open the floodgate, right? So blast, pass, sigil, pass. We'll see if this is the last blue one. I think I'm drawing pitchables now. I have confused myself. No, there's another open floodgate. There is way too much going on for this to showcase. Okay, hit the practice dummy. Pass. There's the bubbles. Okay, so we can still play open the floodgates. Okay, so it's still blast. Pass. Play the sigil. Pass. Return a sigil. Pass. Get the green. Pass. Oh, 1 more. Then play open the floodgates. Hits the practice dummy. Pitch the titanium bubble. Pass. Draw 2 more cards. And then we have 3 blasts left. No more open the floodgates. So this is where we play the etchings. Yeah, beautiful. So we go blast. Pass. We play the sigil. We pass. We return a sigil to hand. We get the amp effect. This time we arcane etchings back the temporal manipulation, right? And this costs 0. Does a little ping of damage, so that's fine. Hit the practice dummy, because why not? Right? And then return a temporal manipulation to our hand and rinse and repeat. So we go blast, pass, play the sigil, pass, return the sigil, pass. I may have miscounted cards because we're we're still going to draw more than what I have left in the deck, I've just realized. So this could actually go a lot further than what I've actually set up, interestingly. Right, hit practice dummy, pass, get back the temporal, and then play our last Blast Oblivion, pass, and then play the sigil, pass, then get back the sigil, pass, do 2 more damage, remain in a ton of action points, right, because we need the action points to play the Eighth of Flares. Okay, then we can play the last etchings, right, that gets us back the last temporal, beautiful, and then we can play out all the sigils with Gauntlet Flash. So we do Gauntlet Flash, and then just every sigil we have. So let the damage resolve. I'm curious how many times overall we played Gauntlet Flash, right? Then play the sigil, return it, pass, pass, and then play Gauntlet Flash again. And we can do this 4 times, it looks like, right? So that's a decent amount of damage, and every time we do it, thanks to Fulminate, we are generating an action point, which is the big thing, right? So that we have enough action points for the Aether Flares, as well as Scour, as well as all the other wizard actions that we are doing. Right, so Gauntlet Flash returns, we profit an action point, beautiful, and then we play Gauntlet Flash 2 more times, right, always wait for the damage to resolve, pass, sigil, return, pass, pass, and then pass, alright, and then Gauntlet Flash, and I have to think about the amping in order to do this effectively, right, because we obviously want the Aether Flare to be as strong as possible. And then pass, damage, beautiful, sigil, return Gauntlet Flash, which is now a pitchable card, right? So that might make up the one we lost with the Amulet of Ignition. All right, so now we have the sigils, we have Scour, and Scour is the big thing because now we can hit the 6 sigils, although I only have 5 cards left, so I did miscount something, but that's fine, right? So we do Scour, we hit 6, since we have 6 in play. Right, and we can pitch the 2 titanium bubbles. Or was I meant to keep some of them to pitch? I can't remember, right? And now we just return all 6, which should get us draws. Curious why the draws didn't resolve. They resolved after. Interesting. Well, we hit the Eighth of Flares, so that's something. Alright, now do we have everything we need to do what we need? I don't know. I feel like I was short on cards in what I was actually trying to set up. But nonetheless, now we go Volzar. Right? Pass. And then we can just play the Eighth of Flares. Do I have enough resources? 3, 6. Yeah, I have enough. I have enough for what I've set up, at the very least. Right, so Eighth of Flare. Pitch the will, just for the 1 extra amp. Right? So 43 into pass. 46 into pass, 49 into pass, pitch the gaze, pass, into pass. You know, somehow I've worked it out, so we have just the right cards, it looks like. Eighth of Flare, pass, but we were 1 card short, right? We have Gauntlet Flash, so we could have actually had 2 more Eighth of Flares, right? Because we would have had 1 more resource from the Amulet of Ignition, and then we could have pitched Gauntlet Flash into another Aether Flare, so we're 2 short, but then we just end off with a zap, and there is the 30-minute turn for Oscilio, more or less, right? Still doing a decent amount, probably, obviously, more than you could possibly ever need, but boy, oh boy, was that a headache to set up, but I'm glad we showed it off, right? How much damage did we do in total? We ended up doing a 483 turn, right? Which could have been probably over 500 if I was slightly better in my planning. I don't know why I have a null shock in there as well. Yeah, so I missed two Aether Flares, right? And the Amulet of Ignition. So, yeah, fairly decent. Again, Gauntlet Flash in Oscilio. Absolute insanity, right? Even if you just do a sigil, Gauntlet Flash, and then amp something, right? That's still, to me, a fairly decent turn. Obviously, you need the go again or the action point procs, but hey, you wizard. Anyway, hope you enjoyed nonetheless. All right, a bit of a head scratcher for me. A lot to keep up with. Hope you enjoy. See ya.